Gemini, welcome. This is your full moon read for the full moon on October 13th. It is a full moon in Aries, and it is going to be a time of relationship testing. There's a good possibility there'll be a lot of ego clashes, some big changes, big endings, big new beginnings, power struggles over money. There's also a possibility here of some powerful forces bringing changes into your world and an invitation to you to roll with it, to embrace those changes, to get past the fear of change and embrace the change fully, because given the alignment of Jupiter at this time, I'm not an astrologer, just saying from the videos I've been watching, it seems like there's a big old basket of goodies waiting on the other side of this full moon period, which will run from about the 13th for a couple of weeks. That's going to be a very testing time with lots of changes, and if you can embrace the change, then you will be rewarded with lots of personal growth and lots of goodies on the other side of it. So we're going to ask today that Spirit give us a little guidance around how to make it through and how to tap these energies to our best benefit. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot. It is a general reading for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising placements. If you don't have your Gemini in Sun, Moon, and Rising, you may want to check some of the other videos to see if there's some guidance that you can triangulate with this video to get a better idea of your individual experience, observations, insights from Spirit. I'm using the I'm using the Bad Girl Tarot from Katie Skelly, and I will have a link in the notes in case you want to go get yourself a copy of that. We'll also have one fortune cookie at the end, just as a general message from Spirit with regard to how best to weather this time. So I'm going to pull 3 cards each for 3 questions here. General reading. If I didn't already say that, it may not pertain to all of you. If it's not feeling like a fit for your life, it's probably not your reading. It's not your energies I'm picking up on, okay? So let's just get some cards here. Our first question is going to be, where is Gemini holding on too tightly to something? The second will be, where is Gemini's ego overinvested, and it's time to reallocate that portfolio. And the third is, how can Gemini improve relationships? What is in Gemini's power with regard to improving relationships? Just going to look for some more cards. Gemini. Ooh, all right. A lot of reversals here. One more card for Gemini, please. Almost your entire reading is reversed. That doesn't mean anything, really. I mean, they have different meanings when they're reversed, that's all. All right, so let's see what we have for you, Gemini, with regard to the question of where you're holding too tight. So the Death card is coming up first. I'm going to see the camera's doing a little glitchy thing here, but hopefully I can focus it for you. I have a bit of a delay on the camera, so it's hard for me to tell if it's focusing or not. Let's hope it did. The Death card reversed. This is change, but you're kind of delaying an ending. You're afraid of changing. You're afraid of this transition, of this end, so you're holding on, and that's causing some stagnation in your life right now because you're not letting something end that needs to end. You're not letting something begin that needs to begin, and that's not good, because during this full moon time especially, there are some major changes coming, endings, beginnings, and you need to be able to roll with that if you want the goodies at the other end. If you want to be rewarded, if you want to be growing through your experiences instead of struggling, you need to learn how to embrace change And right now it looks like that's not comfortable for you, Gemini. The Star is coming up next, also in reverse. Just look at the art there. That's fantastic, isn't it? So the Star in reverse is discouragement. You may feel insecure. It seems like whatever this is, this fear of change, is related to some insecurity, perhaps. And then the Ten of Swords, which is you know, a failure. You've done everything you can do. This is the completion of something. But in that end, we have, as with the Death card, when something ends, something new can begin. So it's this sense that, I mean, you can look at this card and you can say, I failed. You can look at this card and say, I've been defeated. Or you can look at the card and you can say, it may be painful to admit that this ending is necessary, but if I face the truth of that, I am open to a new beginning. And so what is this line telling us with regard to the question of where you're holding on too tight? Well, it seems very clear that something is meant to end so that something new can begin, but you're afraid of that transition, so you're holding on very tightly to the way things are right now, and that's causing stagnation. It's not allowing what was good about the present situation to continue. It's just prolonging the inevitable end of the present situation. So no matter how long or how tightly you hold on to what is happening right now, it is going to change. It's just a matter of how long that takes and how much pain you cause yourself in the process. So I think that's where you need to let go a little. If things are meant to end, let them end. And trust that whatever comes to replace them will be what's meant for you. Because you can't miss what's meant for you, okay? All right, Gemini, let's look at the second question, which is, where is your ego overinvested? We have the Chariot in reverse. Let me see if I can focus on that one. It's a pretty great card. Let me show it to you in the upright. With her tattoo and her biker jacket. She's pretty sweet. So, Chariot in reverse is telling me what? That you are perhaps feeling a little out of control, and that makes you a little aggressive. You don't feel like you're as in control as you'd prefer to be, and that's causing aggression in you, which is a little bit dangerous right now because everyone's ego is right you know, on 10 or 11 already. There are going to be a lot of clashes of personality. It's that strong, fiery Aries energy right now, which is very impulsive. It can be headstrong. It's I am, it's me. I want it, I'm going to have it. It's that kind of energy, and everybody's under it. And not everyone is comfortable in that energy. So there are going to be a lot of clashes. So for you to come at it aggressive, in an aggressive state because you feel, you know, a lack of control, it could get, you know, kind of volatile. The Emperor in the reverse as well. So that's two major arcana in the reverse. That's a pretty significant event happening for you during this full moon. And that Emperor in reverse, it can be cold. So the coldness, there's a rigidness to your communications with others. And it's all stemming back to this fear in here, this sense that you aren't in control. That causes you to be very uncomfortable. That aggression is just another mask for fear. And the Wheel of Fortune comes out reversed here, which tells me, again, you're clinging to whatever control you have because you don't feel like you have enough. So your ego is deeply invested in being in control. Your ego is having a temper tantrum because your ego is used to being in charge, and it's not right now. Now, the lesson, the opportunity for you, Gemini, is to accept that right now isn't the time you're meant to be in control, and to kind of experience what it's like not to be calling the shots, but you're really uncomfortable in that space, and you're fighting it. And that's only going to be amplified during the energies of this Aries full moon. So, where's your ego overinvested? It's overinvested in you being the decision maker, in you being the leader, in you being in control. And the best path forward for you right now would be to learn how to be comfortable in this space of not being in control. Our third question, Gemini, how can you improve your relationships? What is in your power to change? Because not everything's in our power, right? We don't control everything, as we have just discussed in line 2, but there are some things we can control. Our perception, our behavior, our choices, right? So what can you do to improve your relationships right now? We have the 8 of Swords in reverse. Let me show it to you in the upright. In the upright, you know, this is about self-victimization, keeping yourself prisoner. So what does it mean when it's in the reverse? In the reverse, you have a new perspective. You have freedom from those constraints that you've been keeping yourself in. You have an element of self-acceptance that might be new for you. The Lovers is coming up next in reverse. Let me show it to you in the upright. Focus. But it's in reverse here, and that speaks to a loss of balance. There's some very one-sided energy here and some disharmony in your relationship. And the last card we have is the Sun, which is joy. And, you know, a really wonderful feeling of fulfillment. It's positivity. It's a time of clarity and success and celebration. So that's interesting. What is this saying about your relationships? How can you improve your relationships? Well, it seems that if you are able to, you know, this, again, we have 2 major arcana, so there's pretty significant stuff going on this month for you, I think. But with the Lovers in reverse, with that, you know, one-sidedness and disharmony, and the 8 of Swords in reverse, speaking to new perspective, it may be that your relationships are improved by you using your powers of communication and perception and your razor-sharp mind to understand things from someone else's perspective, some relationship that you're in. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship we're talking about here, but it could be. Things improve by you exploring a new perspective, seeing things from a less one-sided point of view, and allowing space for that celebration and joy and fulfillment to visit. And how do you do that? Well, I'm not doing clarifiers, but perhaps you already know. I think, to me, it seems like communication is a big thing here for you. There's an ending that needs to be allowed to happen. There's a, you know, an aggressive space of being here because you're not totally in control, and it's a matter of stepping back from that, allowing yourself to understand that that aggression is born out of a fear, that this delay is born out of fear, and allowing yourself to see things from the other person's perspective. It gets you to a place where things are pretty sunny and great. So yeah, I think it's a lot of this is about trying to see things from different perspectives and trying to communicate in a calm fashion, not letting this aggression out too much during this couple of weeks, because it's going to be already a pretty volatile space. Gemini, let's look for one fortune cookie message for you with regard to how to best weather this full moon time. You got sexuality. Let me read it. Existing relationships could find a new passion and heightened sexual attraction. Opportunities for marriage and good family life are strong, but if single, beware of temptation that could lead to trouble. A child will also bring you great joy. So, if you have children, maybe one of them will bring you news that makes you happy. If you are married, it seems like there could be some energy here in the work you're doing on yourself that improves your marriage. And if you're single, it says beware of temptations that could lead to trouble. So, I'll leave that one to you, whatever that might be. I thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. It is an honor, as always, to do these readings and bring the messages of spirit to you. Hopefully they help you. If you found something, that did resonate for you, that was helpful, I'd love to have some feedback. Always appreciate that. There's an email address in the notes you can use. If you find that something in this message might be relevant to another Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising in your life and you want to share, that would be fantastic too. And thank you to those of you who have subscribed. I really appreciate that so much. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I think that's what I have for you. I hope that you have a fantastic full moon. And I'll see you in the weeklies. Blessings.